Hello there, Internet. I'm Char the Match Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this is IMPERIUS REX. Today on IMPERIUS REX, we're going to change up the format yet again and try something a little different.
I don't know if I'm...
Too bad! In a new segment we're calling You Need to Read, one of us is going to berate the other with insight and anecdotes about a personal favorite of theirs that we just can't get the other one to read.
Sounds like a great idea.
Should we flip a coin?
I'll start. And what better series to kickstart this than with one of our favorites on the show here.
Can't do an episode without bringing them up.
No. Grant Morrison's The Invisibles. I believe one of the keys to understanding and appreciating Morrison's work is to kind of familiarize yourself with his own background. Wouldn't you agree? He's an interesting cat.
Quite.
Yes. Scottish-born writer, musician, and occultist. Grant's biography almost as interesting as his writing.
I would agree.
And you don't have to do a whole lot of searching, to find elements of his own life scattered throughout his stories. He's a firm believer in chaos magic, fiction suits, and alien abduction. He documents his life in the excellent book Super Gods, What Masked Vigilantes, Miraculous Mutants, and a Sun God from Smallville Can Teach Us About Being Human. It's a great read, and provides not only insight on his own career, but really the comic book industry as a whole, all the way from the golden to the modern age. And hate to tell you, but it's almost essential in understanding the full body of his work. Another integral resource to understanding something as complex as The Invisibles is the companion book written by Patrick Meany from Sequart Organization titled Our Sentence is Up. Sounds good, right? Any questions before we begin? Too late. We're starting now. So, The Invisibles was a Vertigo title that ran from 1994 to 2000, and the series kicks off with the lines, "And so we return and begin again." Nice foreword to the cyclical nature of the book and the ideas it represents. It also is the first of many seemingly throwaway moments that, until you reread it, seems unimportant or unintentional. It's not until you experience it once in complete perplexity and then return to it about a year later do you realize how amazingly layered and well plotted this series was, from the first panel to the last sentence, Troy.
Oh my God, that's heavy, Dave.
It's about to get heavier.
Oh no!
Baby.
No!
Oh. So the book follows a group of countercultural rebels called the Invisible College, and they battle against oppression from the outer church.
Oh my word.
Which are alien gods who are enslaving the minds of the human race.
Ah.
That old chestnut.
That old chestnut.
Yeah. This plotline and many of the visuals and philosophical elements were just, I want to say homaged, but completely ripped off in the Matrix films.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the Matrix, Troy.
Oh, yeah.
But, you read this, watch the Matrix, just startling, in your face. And Morrison received, no credit or anything. They just kind of slid that one right by him.
Oof.
So.
Sorry, Grant.
What are you He's fine. So, Troy, who are the Invisibles? I'll tell you. The Invisible Team consists of King Mob, the leader, and really a direct facsimile of Morrison himself. Lord Fanny, a transvestite Brazilian shaman, who is kind of another facsimile for Morrison. Boy, a female former NYPD officer. Ragged Robin, a telepathic time traveler from the future.
What?
Although that comes later, so spoiler. In the past. And Jack Frost, a young punk from Liverpool who may or may not be the next Buddha. And also, another facsimile, you guessed it, for Morrison himself.
Got it. All right.
A lot of Morrison in this book. So it's the most Morrison-y book he's ever written, if that makes sense. So the first arc opens with the recruitment of Dane McGowan, the soon-to-be Jack Frost, it's his code name, eventually, and potentially the most powerful person on the planet. We see through his eyes through most of this, and the two opposing factions, the Invisible College, preaching enlightenment, and the Outer Church, forcing submission, as they wage war behind the scenes of the universe. At first, Dane wants nothing to do with any of this, but upon experiencing an illuminating vision, he begrudgingly agrees to join the team.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. But we're just getting started.
Oh my god.
Throughout the series, they explore time travel through astral projection, taking them back to the French Revolution to meet with the Marquis de Sade during the infamous 120 Days of Sodom. Whew. That's rough. There's a movie about that. It's no good. I watched it the day I found out I was having a child. It just soured the whole experience. They explore the backstories of characters like Lord Fanny, who is a male descendant in a tribe of shamans, who is essentially forced into the transgender lifestyle by his grandmother because only females in the tribe were bestowed with the shamanic gifts. Oh. So they just kind of made him a girl.
Okay.
It's interesting, but he's fine with it.
Sure.
We meet other covert members of the Invisibles, such as Jim Crow, a Haitian voodoo practitioner, and Jolly Roger, a trigger-happy lesbian secret agent. And we also learn that the Outer Church is going to start the apocalypse by crowning a Lovecraftian moonchild beast as the next king of England, Troy.
God.
Yes.
Layers.
Oh, layers upon layers. One of the greatest elements of this series are these strange, seemingly inconsequential character issues, such as issue 12's Best Man Fall.
All right.
Which, let me give you some backstory
Please.
on this. This issue gives the entire tragic backstory of a random guard that is killed in a raid by King Mob in the first arc of the series.
Okay.
So it's just a goon
okay.
that just gets shot, and then like 6-7 issues later, there's just an issue all about that guy.
All right, right on.
So it's heartbreaking and haunting as you watch this guy's entire existence unfold before you, all leading up to just this throwaway death by the hero of your story.
Oh no.
And it reads like it was unavoidable, like everything in this guy's life led him to this moment. And it also kind of forces the reader to re-examine the heroes of the story and begin to question their actions, which King Mob himself does in this too. About midway through the series, he just denounces guns altogether and starts like honing a type of like Bruce Lee ethos and decides he's just going to be like, not a pacifist, but he's going to be a freedom fighter without easily blowing people away.
Kung Fu?
Kung Fu.
Oh, yeah, baby!
Oodles of Kung Fu. So, throughout his writing, Morrison began putting more and more of himself into the character of King Mob. And in an unnerving coincidence, kind of behind the pages here, Morrison himself developed a life-threatening bacterial infection shortly after unleashing a similar ailment on his fictional analog during this interrogation sequence in the book. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember hearing about this on the Fat Man on Batman episode.
Yeah, yep. And they talk about it in a documentary he did, too, with Sequart organization called Talking with Gods, which is another, maybe that's a third piece of homework if you really want to understand this. But Morrison, a practitioner of contemporary magic. My cat's coming in almost on cue. Come on in here, I'll tell you a story.
That cat doesn't like me, Dave.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Morrison, not a big fan of me either. So Morrison, being a practitioner of contemporary magic, he wrote that King Mob was saved and soon after his own health returned to normal. So this may have been the type of introspective re-examination that prompted the character to start looking for non-violent solutions to stopping their enemy. They kind of used the kill him with kindness approach later on in the arc rather than the change through guns a-blazing type of thing. And this type of character reinvention is one of many themes that Morrison dabbles with, throughout his entire run. Tons of themes in this.
Themes on themes.
Themes on themes. So, it's around this point in the series that Morrison claims he was abducted by aliens.
Yes.
Yep. During a trip to Kathmandu, he's a world traveler. He visited a temple there believed to be responsible for granting enlightenment. I think if you go up 300 steps to the top on one breath, apparently you receive enlightenment.
Start tripping balls.
Yeah, I'm good without it. And then later in his hotel room, he experienced a trip into what he described as the fourth dimension, where silver, globby beings showed him an unprecedented concept of time and space that directly affected his work from that point on.
Globby.
Oh, they're
the globbiest?
As the series progresses, Jack Frost learns that he himself will be responsible for destroying the world on December 22nd, 2012. And the group travels to America for 3 arcs. Prior to that, they were in Britain, England, around there. In America, they steal an AIDS vaccine. They face off against a dwarf psychic named Mr. Quimper. And they go through a couple of red herrings on whether or not team member Boy is a double agent or a triple agent brainwashed into thinking she was a double agent.
My God.
Never any question that she's a single agent. No. There's also a plotline where Ragged Robin returns to her future timeline with a time machine capable of folding time and space like origami and powered by the Hand of Glory. Yes. It's like a severed hand, handle fingers.
Ooh.
You've seen them. Halloween shops worldwide.
Yeah.
This was a real one, though.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Are we recording? Yeah, thank God. We're not doing this again. Not until I read it a third time. So then the last arc jumps ahead a year to the final showdown between the Invisible College and the Outer Church. The main team themselves almost take a backseat at this point while a group of 70-inspired, super sexy secret agents carry on a lot of the plot. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby!
The war concludes not so much with the Invisibles' willingness to destroy their enemy through violence, but more to rescue humanity before the end of the world. And this is kind of that change of theme where they're not into the bullet play anymore.
Sure.
They want a different approach. Violence isn't working. Expanded their minds, man.
Extend the olive branch.
Absolutely. Go to Olive Garden. Have some nice biscotti.
When you're there, your family.
Now we learn that the Invisible College and the Outer Church both inhabit the same dimension, Troy, and in true Grant Morrison fashion, yin-yang, all that bullshit, they accept that they are one, and we simply fear what we do not understand. Then, years later, on December 12th, 2012, as the world begins to end, Jack Frost addresses the reader, another Morrison trope there, and through these blinding white cracks of light, he states, "We made gods and jailers because we felt small and alone." Jack has truly become enlightened at this point, preparing to usher humanity into the next stage of existence.
Oh my.
Yeah, he says, "Let them try us and judge us, and like lambs to the slaughter, we allow ourselves to be sentenced. See, now, our sentence is up."
Oh my.
And that's it. That's the last sentence of the book.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
There's another reoccurring theme in this, which is the notion that time itself is soil for humanity to grow in. Think about that.
Okay.
So we must pass through the dark times, i.e. soil,
Okay.
to gain the strength to grow and change and evolve and move on to the next stage of existence, which takes us right back to the beginning. And so we return and begin again, Troy.
Oh my God.
How about that? So that's the Invisibles in a nutshell, or at least a general overview, not even coming close to covering it in its full extensiveness. Are you ready to read it now?
I don't know.
It's not an easy read, but I can honestly say that you will get out of it what you put into it. So if you want to breeze through it without looking for any deeper meaning, you'll probably label it as a waste of time. But if you go through the extra mile, dig into the ideas he presents, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a more inspiring comic book.
Strong words.
Strong words. Strong feelings for my boy Grant, Troy. Told you I drank a lot of that Kool-Aid. Every issue examines so many dense topics, being parts sci-fi, horror, action, philosophy, religion, historical fiction, and strangely enough, almost like a daily journal of Morrison's own experiences and interests in whatever he was into at the time of writing it. Like, he put so much of himself into this work that you have to appreciate what he produced, even if, like, the methodology might not be your drug of choice, at least on the first read-through. However, if there was a comic deserving of multiple reads, this is it. So what do you think? Did I convince you?
Well,
Or was this enough? Is this a good precursor? Is this a pool in which you've dipped your toe
my toes
into
are
a
already...
sea of knowledge?
Well, you let me
Consciousness
finish!
expansion. You've been talking through like this whole thing. Come on, give me a chance to catch my breath here.
Invisibles does sound really interesting, and just by listening to those few episodes of Fat Man on Batman where he goes through huge points of his life, you can see those points as you flip through Invisibles, especially the Kathmandu and the globules.
The globules,
They're
man.
right there in the book.
They're there.
Yeah.
And he also says, I think it was when he had the bacterial infection, or maybe it was when he was younger as a child, he got really sick with like appendicitis or something, and he saw a vision of Jesus in his hospital room, and he said like this phrase to him, which was this really bizarre thing, and it's right in this book.
Yeah.
There's a character that has that exact same experience, and he sees Jesus and tells him this bizarre phrase, and Kevin Smith asked him, like, what's that mean, man?
Yeah,
He's like, I don't know. It's like he didn't come up with it. Like he heard it somewhere and in some weird state of delirium. So no easy answers, but a lot of questions and a lot of chances to make your own reality.
Oh my.
I'm firing on all cylinders, Troy.
But I would suggest, if anyone is into Invisibles and you want to dip your toe in, for the shorthand version, I would listen to those Fat Man on Batman episodes where Kevin Smith just interviews his whole life, like Grant's whole life. And so you get from where he started in Scotland to kind of where he was at that point where they recorded.
Yeah.
And you get to... And just by flipping through it, I know that I've seen... I just said it. That you get to see like parts of his life in there. So it is like part weird... autobiography, taken to the nth degree,
Oh, yeah. Really interesting dude. It's, again, not something that you just, like, read on a plane. If you're like me, you have, like, you're, like, studying for an exam. You have multiple books and sources out. But I would recommend at least a read-through without all that first to kind of take it in.
Sure.
And then if you're into it, you don't know what the hell you've read, but you're intrigued, I say dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
And this is a series that you can dig all the way to China. And like every time you read it, you'll get something else out of it.
All right, right on.
Yeah. So that was me talking for 15 minutes about a book I feel very passionate about. Troy, do you got one lined up for your version of this?
We will see, Dave. I shall spring it on you at a moment's notice.
It's not right now, is it?
So, what did you think of Dave's little synopsis of The Invisibles? Did it make you want to read the book? Have you read it yourself? Let us know down below, and until next time, I've been Short of the Match Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this has been Imperious Rex, so until next time, see you, everybody.